following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Coco 526, Yankee 2.5.
Okay, controller. Coco 526, Yankee 2.5.
Walt Disney presents From the wonderful world of adventure, we bring you this week, Spy in the Sky. The wonderful world of color is brought to you by Eastman Kodak Company. Kodak, the dependable name for quality. In cameras, in film, in pictures you'll treasure now and for years to come. And now your host, Walt Disney.
Seems that every achievement in outer space opens the way to more distant goals. No longer is the sky the limit. On many of our programs in the past, we have presented numerous space projects, and many of the theories we explored have since been established as fact. This program is about a spy in the sky, which could affect the lives of all of us. But first, I'd like to tell you about our latest space project. It's our new motion picture, Moon Pilot. Now, before we go over to stage 2 to watch them film some scenes, I would like to fill you in on the story. Now, it's about an astronaut who started out to make history, but a very funny thing happened to him on his way to the moon.
Status check. Range safety arm light on. Ready.
These are moments in history, moments familiar to us all. And yet, how few of us were actually there when Theodore Roosevelt visited the Panama Canal, when the Treaty of Versailles was signed, when the Yankee Stadium was opened. So often, events we know so well are familiar only because we've seen them in pictures. Pictures take us backward in time. Pictures open a window on tomorrow. Pictures take us to the edge of space and into the heart of matter. Pictures let us see the unseeable. Pictures let us know the unknown. Pictures help save lives and capture beauty. Danger, adventure, achievement. We share them all in pictures. All this and one thing more, perhaps the most important thing of all. Pictures make time stand still for you and your family. For many years, in every kind of picture making, the name Kodak has been a symbol of quality and service. Kodak cameras are easy to use, sturdy, and built with amazing precision, so they take clear, sharp pictures time after time. Kodak film is the standard for quality around the world. New Kodachrome 2 film, for example, is a major advance in color for both movies and color slides. Kodak projectors, like the new Supermatic Color Slide projector, show your pictures at their sparkling best, bright and colorful. So remember, don't take chances with your priceless pictures. In cameras, in film, in projectors, you can depend on the name Kodak.
As you have seen, she is a very elusive and determined person. So our moon pilot slips away, and they go out on the town together. And that's what they're about to shoot. So let's go over on stage 2.
Let's have the first position. Back it up to your first place.
This is one of those times when everyone is working except the actors. When Tom Tryon is not on camera, he usually spends his time studying his script. I guess he's saving his energy for his big scene. Brian Keith and Eddie O'Brien like to do their relaxing at a game of poker. And if they can find a sucker, so much the better. Looks like they've hooked one. It's Pete, one of the Astro Chimps in the picture.
How's the family? Great. The boy threw a baseball through the living room window yesterday. Yeah. It was closed, too. Got a good arm. That open it? Now. All straight. Me too. 3. And 3 for me. I know it's none of my business, Brian, but aren't you pushing that boy of yours a little hard? No, he got a baseball since he was 6 months old. I gave it to him to teeth on him. I'm pushing about that. Pete, you open. Call. All right, let's see those openers. You know, you can't be too careful with kids nowadays. You gotta watch them. Might give them complexes. No, according to the latest dope, that stuff's old-fashioned now. Yeah, how do you mean? Well, they say throw away all the books and just give them plenty of love, that's all. Plenty of baseballs to throw at windows. Huh? Pete, you gonna open? We're down the line here. Let's, make 5. Good. It's about time we had a little action. Cards? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1 for old Dan. 1 card. Opener's bet. Check to the 1 card. I'll check. I'll call. I'll cover that little bet. And I'll put in 25 myself, just in case you guys are curious about my hand. Sandbagger. let's have a look at that. Let's see it. Now, can you beat a king high flush? Ace is full. How do you like that, son? I'll take you the sandbag. A 3-card draw. How do you like that?
I guess they found someone a little smarter than they are. Oh, there's Danny Saval. She's the young French star that we brought over from Paris to play Lyre, the gal from outer space. If you don't stop that...
Yes. What will you do?
Never mind. Where you been?
Rehearsing my song.
Rehearsing your song? You're supposed to be rehearsing the scene with me.
Yes, but I have my song right here. All written out.
Honey, we're not getting to that song for 3 weeks. We're supposed to be rehearsing the Fisherman's Wharf scene.
But I have nothing to do with it in this scene.
Well, sure you do.
I did not say a word.
Well, you're supposed... Julie. Thanks. Look, you're supposed to be standing right beside me, holding onto my arm and hugging me.
And kissing you.
So?
I do not have to rehearse for kissing you. That is my genius.
Now, look, will you stand still and be serious, please?
But I am very serious. Art is a serious business, and I am an artist.
Okay, artist, and let's settle down to business.
The song is my business. Don't you want to know it as well as I do? Oh, my poor Tom. I have hurt you. Yes, you're unhappy, huh?
Well, if I help you, then you should help me. This seems a difficult one.
Oh, what do you want I do? Listen? Laugh?
No. Look, honey, you hold the script right there and read the general's part.
The general, me?
Yeah. What's so funny?
Oh, me as the general. Can you just see me now, as a general?
Danny, come on, honey.
Silence! I am getting in the mood.
Are you in the mood?
Yes.
Okay, right there, top of the page. Right there.
Tom,
Mm-hmm.
if I play the part of the general, you will rehearse with me my song?
Sure.
Thank you. Now I am the general. Voila. What is the matter with you, Talbot? Have you been tortured? Brainwashed?
Brainwash, sir, I'm sorry. I don't follow you.
Sir, Talbot, just tell me one thing. Are you free like to come and go?
Yes, sir, free as a bird.
Then what are you doing on the phone? If you are free like a bird, get your tail up here.
Now, honey, come on. Stay with it, will you? Come on.
Oh, no. Poof, I am not a general. I am a woman. Can't you see that?
All right, you win. I'll get somebody else to read the general.
But you promised.
Promise what?
You have promised me if I play the part of the general, you will rehearse my song with me. Are you going not to keep your promise? Huh?
I should have known better. I should have let you have your way right from the very beginning.
Oh, yes. That goes like this. Sana exatu, libeta lire, exatu, sotictola.
Sounds like Greek.
There are 7 moons.
7?
Of beta lire.
Beta lire.
7 moons.
7?
All meant for love.
Yeah.
Come along with me to my galaxy. 7 times a bleed. Every time you kiss. 7 times a
Ready, Tom, on the set.
Come in, Paul.
All right, let's have the first position.
Hurry, Tom.
Back it up to your first place.
Well, finally, we can watch them do the scene. This is the scene where our moon pilot is out on the town with the girl. It creates a crisis on top of a crisis. The countdown has already been started. The general is worried about his astronaut. Everyone is upset, including Washington. Our missing pilot has placed a call to the general in order to get his promise.
All right, all quiet.
That means me too.
116.3. Background. Action.
Hello, General. This is Captain.
The reason our astronaut wants to make a deal is, but first I'd better explain that the girl is from Beta Lyrae. Now that's a planet way out there beyond the Milky Way. Anyway, she's told him that, well, frankly, it's a story that's difficult to tell. You'll have to see it to understand it. And we think it's funny. Now, in just a moment, we'll bring you another space adventure called Spy in the Sky. And what happens in this may be closer than you think.
If you're the kind of person who'd like to have your vacation and save it too, then this Kodak Automatic 8 movie camera was made for you. An electric eye sets the lens automatically for the right exposure. You get sharp, clear movies in great color. All you do is press the button. You've captured the beauty of nature's wonders. Just press the button, and you've got action and adventure. Just press the button, and the excitement comes home with you to enjoy again and again. The Kodak Automatic 8 movie camera costs less than $55, or as little as $6 down at most dealers. And remember, you can depend on the name Kodak.
The world of tomorrow and the instruments of science which are shaping it may seem remote and fantastic, but yesterday's fantasies are becoming today's facts. How will these great advances influence and benefit our personal lives? Here in this film is an answer. Sweeping through an eternal vacuum, through blazing heat and bitter cold, exposed to mysterious radiation, man-made satellites circle the Earth. Traveling at fantastic speeds, these eyes in outer space give us knowledge for future exploration, and also vital information that will lead to a better understanding of one of nature's great forces, the weather. With awesome violence and destruction, the weather is one of man's oldest and mightiest adversaries. But in its ever-changing moods, the weather brings us beauty. The weather gives us our daily bread. The weather makes possible all living things. And the weather certainly influences our daily lives. always been at the mercy of weather. When the weather is nice, we are happy. If the weather is hot and muggy, we tend to be frustrated, irritable, and even criminal. But if the fog rolls in, we are apt to be depressed. Thunderstorms cause fear and apprehension. Icy winds and snow seem to slow us down. In trying to predict these capricious changes in weather, we sometimes resort to rather questionable weather forecasting devices, such as an almanac, a crystal ball, a gouty leg, and the law of average.
April showers bring May flowers. When mule ears shake in a certain way, it means that rain will fall that day. If a spider you should slay, rain will fall within a day. It's a sign of rain and snow when the birds and bugs fly low. As the weather is on New Year's Day, for 30 days 'twill stay that way. As the weather is on January 2, for February and September, the same holds true. As the weather is on January 3, so the last 3 months of spring will be. As the weather is on November 21, so the coming winter's one. One is one. Winter's one. So, as the coming winter has a New Year's Day, and if the fine weather holds its sway, the weather is bound to stay that way forever, ever, and a day.
Well, no matter how we try to predict the weather, of this we can be certain. It will always be with us. To understand it, let's look into any ocean, lake, pond, or puddle. Here in this watery world, cool and calm as can be, lives this damp little drip floating peacefully. But when the heat's on, the sun comes out. The rays, they agitate him, make him jump about. Well, he gets all shook. Look out, stand back. He's going to blow his stack. The drip evaporates, and then he's joined by his friends. They're together again. They float up high on the moist, warm air. We can't see them, but they're still there. They fly way up where the cold's intense, then back into droplets. They condense, and that's what makes a cloud. But when too many droplets crowd a cloud, that crowded cloud, he cries out loud. That's the way we get the rain. Well, look who's here, the little drip again. Back in the puddle. Heat. Beat. Rise. Skies. And that's what makes a cloud. This time those drops are blasted high. Still higher, still colder. Look at them fly. One turns to ice, another stick to it, getting bigger and bigger. Look out! I knew it. It's way too heavy. It's falling. Wow. The little drip's a hailstone now. He's back just where he was before, and the whole thing's ready to start once more. This constantly repeating cycle of weather may seem capricious and without direction, but throughout nature there is order. Weather is a constant blending of the basic elements: air, water, and sun. It all starts with the sun. This tremendous white-hot ball of gas, 750,000 miles across, supplies the power that drives our weather machine. The sun is a gigantic atomic furnace, consuming itself at the rate of billions of pounds of matter per second. Across its boiling surface drift mysterious spots. Solar flares surge in flashes of raw energy. Writhing, flaming clouds of incandescent hydrogen gas explode hundreds of thousands of miles into space. The sun is absolutely essential to life on our planet. Our Earth is surrounded by an envelope of air. Radiant energy, constantly pouring out from the sun, heats the Earth and its atmosphere unevenly from pole to equator, setting in motion broad flowing rivers of air. Wherever opposing currents of air develop, giant eddies and whirlpools are formed. These are traveling areas of low pressure in the atmosphere. The clash of these opposing air streams causes clouds to form and usually brings stormy weather. Between the areas of low pressure, there are eddies rotating in the opposite direction. Here, air pressure is high. This usually brings clear skies and fair weather. By charting their positions each day, weathermen can estimate the course they will take and the weather that will result. Keeping track of the steady parade of storms and fair weather requires the constant preparation of new maps. This is a never-ending task. Weathermen must construct these maps from a continuous flow of data that pours in from weather stations all over the world. In remote, isolated areas, in crowded cities, in high-flying aircraft, and in ships at sea, modern weathermen depend on a variety of specialized instruments to gather information. They measure temperature, moisture, air pressure, and wind speed. Balloons carry instruments aloft, automatically radioing back information. New radar techniques locate and track storms. And modern electronic computers now play an important part in weather forecasting by their ability to store and rapidly process vast amounts of data. But today, we are just beginning to understand something of the forces behind the weather. Scientists realize they must search in many directions and ask countless questions. For instance, can future weather be predicted by looking at the past? Does the slow advance and retreat of glaciers over periods of centuries indicate cycles in the Earth's climate? Past records of bird and animal migration, or the migrations of man, may furnish clues. And even ancient tree rings give an indication of wet and dry periods. The vast unexplored polar regions of the Earth pose another kind of question. What effect do these frigid areas, covering millions of square miles, have on the weather of the entire world? Auroras, the ghostly lights that flicker in polar skies, tell something of what happens when energy from the sun plunges into the sea of air that surrounds the Earth. Adventurous scientists are probing the atmosphere itself, climbing to incredible altitudes in their search for knowledge. New scientific tools are being used, rockets launched from balloons. And rockets launched from the ground carry instruments higher and higher. Unfortunately, these flights last but a short time, and only a small amount of information can be obtained. But now we have more advanced scientific devices for gathering data continuously over long periods of time, not only from the atmosphere, but from space beyond. Artificial satellites. Satellites reach into the unknown with instruments that duplicate man's own senses. The eye of the satellite is a photocell or a radiation counter. Its ear, a tiny microphone. Its memory, a tape recorder. And its voice is a radio transmitter. Here, these instruments are placed in an actual weather satellite, designed to record the cloud formations covering the Earth. In this cross-section view, we see how all the instruments have been reduced to an amazingly compact unit weighing but a few pounds. Here is one of the electronic eyes of the satellite. This eye converts the light reflected from land, ocean, and cloud into electrical impulses. These impulses from the eyes are changed into electronic signals that are recorded by this tiny tape machine. Recording continuously for periods of nearly an hour, this incredibly small instrument remembers everything the weather satellite sees. Triggered by a radio signal from Earth, the recorder plays back the stored information in only 1 minute. These precious reports on the Earth's cloud patterns are received by specially designed stations on the ground. The radio signals from the satellite are now converted back to a moving pattern of light on the oscilloscope, and finally translated into a picture of the cloud formations the satellite has seen during one trip around the Earth. Today's weather satellites are small and are designed to do a limited job. However, they are the first step forward to larger and more versatile space explorers of tomorrow. These future satellites will be the key to precise forecasting and control of weather.
One day, one boy, one unforgettable adventure, his to enjoy again and again because someone saved it all in pictures.
Fun's more fun, much more fun when a camera helps you recall. Fun's more fun, much more fun with a camera to save it all. Take your camera along and save it in pictures.
Wherever you go this summer, save each day in pictures. With a Brownie Starmite camera by Kodak, all you do is aim and press the button, and it's yours to remember again and again. The Brownie Starmite camera costs less than $12, and remember, you can depend on the name Kodak.
Let us project our present knowledge with a little imagination and speculate on how satellites might be used in future operations from a worldwide weather center. This is the master control room. Electronic maps and view screens display up-to-the-minute pictures of the weather around the Earth. Every hour, reports are automatically received from all points at sea, on land, and in the air. 22,000 miles out in space, 3 robot satellites train their sensitive television eyes on all parts of the Earth. These pictures are monitored on viewing screens in the Weather Center. Here in the computing room, electronic machines digest the constant flood of information received from all stations. This is then translated into an ever-changing diagram of the Earth's weather. Forecasts for every sector of the globe are made months in advance. Prediction charts have indicated that a powerful hurricane will begin forming today in the Atlantic Ocean. The electronic weather map shows an intense storm system building up about 1,000 miles due east of Miami, Florida. The controller calls for a close-up satellite view of the troubled area.
Coordinates. Coco 526, Yankee 2.5. Okay, controller. Coco 526, Yankee 2.5.
The characteristic swirling clouds of the hurricane are beginning to form. At sea, the waves anticipate the violence to come. The controller calls for a last-minute prediction of the hurricane's path. If control measures are not begun at once, the hurricane will smash across densely populated areas within 48 hours.
11 a.m. EST. A hurricane is forming 960 miles east of Miami, Florida. If control measures are ineffective, it will pass inland at Cape Hatteras in 48 hours. Control operations will begin within 2 hours, but safety precautions should be completed from Cape Fear, north no later than 6 p.m. tomorrow.
At Weather Central, the control strategy is mapped out. A ridge of high pressure slants across the eastern United States between two low-pressure storm systems. If these two storm centers are intensified, the high will build up along the coast, forming a barrier that will turn the hurricane out to sea.
Stand by. Now pulling in satellite number 1 for visual check of low-pressure systems L20 and L21.
The operator brings the satellite into focus on the two storms, one centered over Kansas, the other over Labrador.
Changing to northeastern low, L21.
With the touch of a button, the battle begins. On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the clouds from above. The storm centers over Kansas and over Labrador intensify as seeding continues.
Now changing over to Hurricane Center H8.
The fury of the hurricane mounts as 100-mile-an-hour winds lash the sea to a foaming frenzy.
All stations, Sector C. Activate Phase 2, Control Plan Delta. Set vapor rockets for 42,000 feet.
As an emergency measure, the controller calls for a salvo of vapor rockets to be fired ahead of the path the hurricane is predicted to take. These artificial clouds will block the sun from evaporating more water to feed the hurricane. The reports coming into the control center indicate that the diversionary cloud seeding over Kansas is now creating a flood danger. Specially equipped robot aircraft are dispatched immediately to release a high concentration of cloud seeding material into the fringes of the storm. Heavier seeding from the ground also helps to subdue the rain by spreading it over a wider area. The controller calls for another view of the hurricane, which has now moved closer to the coast.
Signal out on number 1 satellite. 10-minute interruption for correction. Have you anything else in the area?
Satellite station S1 is approaching area. We'll make contact. S1, this is Weather Central. Request video signal at grid coordinates COCO.
An emergency situation has developed. In an orbiting space station 1,000 miles above the hurricane, a crewman sends a temporary picture back to Weather Central.
Okay, S1, your video is R5S5. Thank you.
The hurricane has stopped moving toward the coast, but is still intensifying. It must be made to move northward and out to sea. This is a crisis.
Aberdeen Station. Activate multiple seeding rockets on course 117.
The controller decides to fire cloud seeding rockets just ahead of the hurricane, hoping to start it moving. Slowly, the hurricane begins to shift. All available forces have been brought into play. Now we can only watch and wait. hours of tension, the turning point is reached. Latest reports indicate the control strategy is successful. At last, the high-pressure ridge has settled along the coast, forming an invisible wall of safety. The storm is over. The danger has passed. The hurricane has been defeated, turned away from the land, and left to spend itself harmlessly far out at sea. In the world of tomorrow, weather control will enrich and safeguard our daily lives. In the foreseeable future, we will conquer more than violent storms. We will turn the destructive elements of today into new sources of power, shaping the land on which we live. All mankind will benefit. Arid wastelands will be made green and fertile, and vast frozen areas will become productive. To this end, man-made satellites will probe the secrets of the skies. They will be our eyes in outer space.
The havoc caused by hurricanes can often be averted by early warnings, and that is one of the objectives of Tyros 3, the world's most advanced weather satellite, now orbiting the Earth, gathering information about the birth and growth of hurricanes. Designed and built by RCA for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, Tyros 3 is the latest stage in the development of satellites to observe global weather patterns. RCA equipment televised these pictures of Hurricane Carla, for example, which were transmitted back to NASA ground stations equipped by RCA. Meteorologists analyzed this information and provided early warnings as to the movement of the storm. Tyros 3 is another example of the RCA electronic leadership, which is pacing our country's flight into space and the future. RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Professor Ludwig von Drake, that eminent psychiatrist, renowned storyteller, and world traveler, a man who is at home in any country, so he says, has a real treat planned for you. You will see it when you meet Sir Francis Drake, Ludwig von Drake in Spain.
When Von Drake does something, he does it right. And the whole of colorful Spain will be our stage. So we are going to take you right to the spot where these dances originated. And the dancers, you wouldn't believe this either, the most famous Spanish dancers in all the world. Like Rafael de Cordova, who has two of the fastest feet in all of Spain. The renowned Jose Greco and his entire company of Spanish dancers. Take it away, Jose. Ole!
Senor Ludwig Jose Antonio von Drake spares no expense in presenting the brightest talents and gayest dances that sunny Spain has to offer.
Now you wink at the girls, and you sing while they're glancing. Look at me, Ma, I'm dancing. What else? Flamenco.
For a lively, light-hearted look at this colorful land, travel with Von Drake in Spain. There you'll meet many interesting, fun-loving people, and you'll share with them the irresistible rhythm, the enchantment and the beauty of some of their oldest and most popular Spanish dances.
Well, anyway, that means see you next week and keep tuning in. Ole!
Yes, next week, for a real entertainment treat, it's Von Drake in Spain on Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color.
Look what's new for 62. RCA Victor's new 1962 transistor radio. It has golden throat tone, so rich, so full, it's tone you'd expect in a table radio. You get a new high in performance, too, because these remarkable transistors, designed and developed by RCA, give you extra strong pull, bring in many distant stations, remarkably loud and clear. And this transistor radio looks as good as it sounds. Slim, trim, and colorful, it's the latest design from RCA Victor. See the new 1962 RCA Victor radios at your dealer now. RCA, the most trusted name in sound.
Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color has been brought to you by Eastman Kodak Company for Kodak dealers everywhere. Kodak, the dependable name for quality. In cameras, in film, in pictures. This program was photographed on Eastman Kodak film. Tonight, Walt Disney presented a few scenes from his hilarious space-age comedy motion picture, Moon Pilot. In Moon Pilot, you'll again meet that hilarious space-happy astro chimp who really flips his lid when his fellow astronaut and Moon Pilot falls for a mysterious girl from outer space. And then, when they blast off in a rocket to the moon, everybody flips. Share a new kind of space-age fun and laughter out of this world when Walt Disney launches Moon Pilot in a theater near you.
Produced in association with the NBC Television Network.